Dear person 10,000 years from now, I wonder if you still go outside, if you still see the sky. I wonder if it still rains in the desert. I wonder if these canyons, sheer rock faces plunging down hundreds of feet, are still here, or anywhere. I wonder if they've all been filled with trash or something radioactive, something with a half-life greater than the time between my death and your birth. I hope you know what it is to be wet, to be cold, to feel so hot there's sweat dripping off your back and you can barely stand to smell yourself. I hope you've been hurt and feared for your life at least once, if only for a fleeting second. I hope you've climbed on top of something and felt free to scream, knowing no one can hear you. I hope you've been alive and been human. Watching the world burn. The Navajo generating station looms on the horizon. Its 3 smokestacks are cloaked in gray smoke which casts a shadow over the surrounding desert. Walking through the plant, I feel like I'm in the belly of industrial capitalism. The intricate labyrinth of pipes, tubes, intake valves, and pressure gauges defy comprehension. Everything is hissing, churning, constantly in motion, constantly producing more, more, more. Lights flash, turn on, turn off. The coal burns bright, the turbines spin, the generators make power, and the smoke keeps floating up, up, and up. We call it smoke, but it's mostly carbon dioxide. NGS's environmental health manager prides himself on the plant's low emissions of sulfur dioxide and particulate matter. These pollutants can be scrubbed out, removed from the smoke, trapped, and kept out of our lungs. Carbon dioxide isn't really a pollutant. It's the other side of the chemical equation. Take coal, add fire, and you get CO2. If you burn enough coal, the planet gets warmer. Outside NGS, 2 mountains of coal sit at the end of the railroad tracks. The tracks run to the Kayenta mine, which supplies the plant with 3 trainfuls of coal every day. In Edward Abbey's Monkey Wrench Gang, the protagonists blow up this railroad as part of their campaign to stop development in the West. Looking at the cloud of smoke hanging over the desert, half of me wants to finish what they started. This is ground zero for climate change, where 1/4 of Arizona's carbon emissions are produced. Could I look each one of the plant's 500 Navajo employees in the eye and tell them they have to give up their jobs for the greater good when so many other power plants are just as culpable? Could I live with my own inaction, knowing a hotter West is driving picas to extinction, and tell myself I was too afraid to ask my fellow humans to sacrifice for their future? The Navajo Generating Station was authorized in 1969 with a 50-year lease from the Navajo Nation. It is the 6th largest coal-fired power plant in the country. Much of the power it generates is used by the Bureau of Reclamation to pump water from the Colorado River to Phoenix and Tucson. Its construction was part of a deal with the Sierra Club, which was fighting 2 proposed power-generating dams at either end of the Grand Canyon. At the time, the Sierra Club felt that a coal plant was the more environmentally friendly option. Now, looking towards the Colorado, the air is so hazy I can't even see the river. I wonder how long we can survive as a civilization when we are willing to choose between flooding the Grand Canyon or burning enough coal to permanently obscure it, all for the sake of growth. In the boardroom of the plant, hidden in the back by the coffee table, is a framed sheet of paper with the words, "It is easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission." I've always wanted to watch the world burn. This is what I tell myself when confronted with a problem so insurmountable that defeat seems to be the only option. Climate change is already happening, and NGS is only one of many coal plants worldwide. NASA climate scientists have said that we need to redesign our entire energy grid in the next 10 years to avoid the worst effects of climate change, and even then, we won't escape unscathed. Snowpack reduction is lessening the flow of the Colorado River at a time when its water is depended on to feed the growth of Phoenix, Tucson, and Las Vegas. California's farmers supply half the nation's fruits and vegetables, and they need water to keep growing. The American West is full of people willing to fight for water, and drought is knocking at the door. The cloud of smoke over the plant makes the desert around it look vaguely apocalyptic, and I wonder how long we can postpone our day of reckoning with the laws of physics. The second coming seems easy by comparison. Jesus left us a manual showing us how to live our lives on earth. No one told us how to feed 7 billion people or raise cities in the middle of deserts. No one told us what to do when the pieces start to fall apart. Walking through the plant, I'm seduced by the vision of industry, in awe of the sheer scale of our ambition. My great-grandpa worked in a paper mill for much of his life in an era when tall smokestacks meant pride in America and maybe even good union jobs. I am the last generation to be born and raised on cheap energy, and perhaps the first to see the end of civilization written in smokestacks. I'm fully prepared for the reality that we might fail. We might not keep snow falling, the Colorado flowing, or the West cool enough to sustain human civilization. By the end of my life, the Navajo Generating Station will be a relic, a monumental structure left behind by the last generation of industrial titans. I fight with everything I have, hoping it will be a cautionary tale for future humans and not a memorial to a species too arrogant to prevent its own extinction.